Welcome back to Sea Glass Archaeology, everybody. I'm out here on Dominion Beach and it's super sunny and it's very windy as well. So I've already walked the beach and I've made a lot of great discoveries, but the problem is you can't hear me talking unless I'm ducked underneath the sand dune. So the one that I want to share the most with you, I found this beautiful triangle, and when I hold it into the sunlight, you can see it's got a nice little shade of purple to it. It's an old piece of glass and it's got a curvature to it. So this would have been from a much larger bottle, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to match it in the video right now. So this might be my favorite artifact that I recovered all day. It's the motif of a dog, and I thought for sure that it would have been on his chain and it would have had the phone number on the opposite end, but you can see that it says, "I love my Rottweiler," and right down here it's got a date of 1982. Now, as somebody who was born in 1977, there's a chance that this dog actually was born before me. As people have been walking their dogs out on this beach for a lot longer than I've lived here, it's really safe to hypothesize that this could have fallen off of someone's keychain, or maybe it would have actually been on the dog and said, "I love my Rottweiler," but I don't understand that because the dog can't read. Either way, it's a wonderful artifact, and I'm so happy that I found it. I absolutely love it when I find a shard and all the hard work is already done for me. So we can see it's got the maker's mark Corning on it, New York, and then it says microwavable at the bottom. And it's kind of funny because I know that this piece can't be too old if it says microwavable on it, because I believe the Beatles had made it to the USA before microwaves were common in US homes. It's so wild that I have this shard in my hand that says USA on it, because last week I was out on Indian Beach in North Sydney and it was super windy out there as well. And then I found another country embossed on the bottom of a ceramic, and I'm going to share that one with you as well because it tells a very different story. Have a look at all these amazing little colors I found, everyone. And then right in the middle, we can see that it's the word Japan. And of course, Japan would have been on ceramics from about 1920 to about 1940. And before that, it would have said Nippon, and afterwards, it would have said made in occupied Japan until the 1950s with the results of World War II. So I need everyone's opinion here if this was made by humans or maybe it was naturally formed. It's a nice piece of sandstone, and it almost looks like there was a groove over here potentially for grinding things down, like a pestle and mortar type style. And a lot of indigenous people were living on this beach. There's a good chance that this was originally a much larger stone, and then it got washed by the ocean for a couple of centuries, and we can still see it's got this groove over here, and it's very unnatural because I find a lot of rocks and I spend my whole life looking at rocks all over the shoreline, and this one definitely seems out of place. So I'm going to be taking this one home and examining it further. So I made it all the way to the end of the beach, and now I'm on my way back, and this is just about where I found that caterpillar, and it looks like I was a little bit distracted because I missed this marble. It's sitting right on the surface. I cannot believe how beautiful it is, and I haven't even picked it up yet. But let's take a look here. Wow, look at that coloring. I guess I owe you a little bit of an explanation with respect to that caterpillar, everybody. As I was walking the tide mark, there was a tiny little black and orange critter, and he rolled up like a sea marble. He was totally wet and saturated, known as a woolly bear caterpillar. And I picked him up very carefully, I dried him off, and I brought him over to the dunes where there's a lot of grass so he can grow up to be a beautiful little tiger moth. Now, unfortunately, I thought I'd pushed record, but I definitely didn't. It would have been a really unique moment, but at least you know what I'm talking about. Have a look at this really strange artifact, everybody. I'm not 100% sure what it is. And while I know it looks like it's from a lawnmower, it's much older than that. And being that we're so close to the power plant, it probably has something to do with that, or maybe it was off of an old train, but it's a really unique piece. And now have a look at this magnificent amber brown, just baking in the sun, frosted to perfection. And a lot of people probably walked over it because they didn't recognize that it was glass. And now that the sun is shining, you can see a lot of amber brown. The tide is about 100 feet away from me, but it pushed me all the way up. Take a look at what I just recovered, everybody. We have a nice little olive green shard. It's a crown seal, so we know it was made after 1893, but it's a beautiful color. It's probably from some sort of an alcohol bottle. Coming out to Dominion Beach, I always find some really large shards. This one is no exception whatsoever. You can see how thick it is, and it has a little bit of a curvature on the bottom, and it's got this unique line on it, which tells me that this was no doubt from an old flask, probably a larger one as well. This was one of my favorite finds, everybody, because I don't remember the last time I found something that wasn't written in English, and we can see that this would have been an old beverage bottle. The 10 in the FL is 10 fluid ounces. And then over here we have the ni and the ni, and I believe this would have been French for ni dépôt and ni retour or ni remplissage, which means neither deposit nor return, or neither deposit nor refill. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that these would have been on bottles from about like 1940 to 1970. So it's not too old, but it's still extremely unique because it's not something that I've seen before, and it's definitely not something I've been able to share with you. More beautiful than an artist's stroke, we can see that the waves gently move the coal dust up and down the shoreline, and it creates these beautiful patterns. All the coal dust, it comes from the power plant, and unfortunately it creates a lot of pollution, but it's just amazing. On a cold day, you can put your feet inside this coal dust and it radiates because it retains all of that solar energy. I just cannot believe the differential in beauty from the part that is covered with a little bit of a skin and then the other part that's been bleaching in the sun. Now, I've been told that I can get this off if I just leave it in the sun. I believe it's possible to bleach it as well, and these shells are just too beautiful to pass up, so I'm going to be bringing this home as well. A lot of beverages were drank out here on the beach through picnics and people just having bonfires, and this would be the inside liner cap from Pepsi. I don't know if it was a contest. No, it sure wasn't. Sometimes you can see these and they would have had like different letters and you'd have to collect them all or spell the word Pepsi to win a prize. And gosh, I'm going to be taking this one home with me because it doesn't belong on the beach. Here's this beautiful find, everybody. It's a nice shade of green, very, very light, and probably from an old wine bottle. Oh, water's coming. So I just came across another beautiful shard of aqua seafoam, everybody. When I turn it over, you can see it has a little bit of a round marking on the bottom, and that's a good indication that this was made in a suction mold, and it was probably made at the turn of the century, so about like 1890 to 1910 is a good timeline for this. And because of the shape to it, it's good to hypothesize that this was probably from a flask or some sort of a rectangular bottle as well. This must be the most beautiful rock that I have seen in forever, everyone. Take a look. It's just, oh, there's water coming right now. I gotta go. So this beautiful shard, I believe, would be serpentinite. It's probably been rolling in the ocean for a very long time to be as beautiful as this. And it's way too big to turn into jewelry, but I'm just gonna give it away to somebody because I know that people love beautiful green rocks like this one. And I don't remember the last time I saw a rock that was as beautiful as this. Now have a look at this amazing specimen, everybody. I know it looks a lot like coal, but it's super heavy, unlike coal, and we can see that it's a piece of petrified wood from a prehistoric tree. It's gonna be really heavy to get this home. It definitely weighs more than my cat. I'd have to say this weighs about 8 pounds, but it's gonna be worth it when I get to give it away to somebody. Here is another geological specimen that's just out of this world. It's some sort of a metamorphic rock. It's in a matrix, we can see. I'm not sure if it's that old serpentinite. It's just as beautiful. And if I take this home and I take home that big piece of petrified wood, my pockets are gonna be full. This might be a first for me, everybody. This really unique object that I'm holding is actually a hoof from a very, very old horse. Now it's wild because out here on Dominion Beach, oh, the water is coming right now. Oh no, my bag, no! Oh no, my bag of everything just got taken. Over the years, I've had the pleasure of sharing tons of unique and amazing artifacts with everybody. This one is gonna be a first for me. You can probably guess by the shape that this wouldn't be a rock, but this would have been from an animal. And this would have been a hoof from an old horse or even possibly an ox. Now right behind me, you can see that we have that power plant, And even though it's quite modern, for hundreds of years, people have been extracting and moving coal off of this beach. Back in the 1750s, the British actually had a cannon ship over here to protect it from the French because they felt that the coal reserves were that valuable. So it's remarkable to think that a hoof like this actually could have come from an animal that was helping move all of that coal onto big ships and then getting it across the ocean, because it was stated that the coal reserves of Cape Breton were worth 10 millennium worth of energy. So at a time where England and France and all those other European countries out there were really running out of space, Cape Breton Island was one of the most valuable resources in the New World. Definitely see it's got the shape to it, and it's wild because I believe it was about 12 or 15 years ago I found a full intact horse on the beach, and I know that horse wasn't from the 1700s like this one probably was, because it was still very much intact, unfortunately, but I'm not going to share it in the video because it was a little bit too gross to show you. It's just wild to think how far we've come in just a few generations, everybody, when we all had to ride around in horses or even just use our own hoofs to get from one place to another. I remember reading that in the city of New York at the turn of the century, they had to remove up to 3 dozen dead horses that were just left on the streets every single day. And it led to a place in Brooklyn that's actually known as Dead Horse Beach or Dead Horse Bay. It was used as a dump as well, and it's on my radar as a spot that I'd really love to go visit. I know I probably wouldn't find too many amazing artifacts. I've actually heard that it's radioactive, but just for the experience of getting out to this old historical place, I'd love to see it. I'm back at home, everybody, with that beautiful thick aqua piece that I was hoping to match to a bottle, but there's only one problem. Hey bartender, you got any more of that good sarsaparilla? Well, the good news is I might not be a bartender, but I've got a beautiful bottle of sarsaparilla right here from the 1800s. And when I put it on its end and I put the two pieces together, you can see that it's almost a perfect match, and the bottom has that little bit of a curvature to it as well. Now, that line came from that movie The Big Lebowski, where the stranger Sam Elliott with the big mustache is sitting at the bar, and he asks the bartender, you got any more of that good sarsaparilla? And it's amazing because I found this bottle a few years ago in heavy garbage, and it came with a companion. So if you really weren't into that smoky flavor of the sarsaparilla, you could have the cream soda version of it. And these are really, really unique bottles. A lot different than the ones that it originally came in the 1800s that were shaped like this. Now, it's wild because when it did come in these old shapes, it was actually one of the first snake oil remedies, where people actually believed that this would purify your blood and deal with other diseases that you might have had. Of course, that was all later debunked, but it was a great non-alcoholic choice and one of the first beverages that you could just walk into a random saloon and get. You could just assume that it would be there and it would be available. Gotta go. It's coming right for me.